Welcome, guys. I'm doing today a reaction to Jordan Peterson, and you might be wondering, like, what? You're doing music videos reactions to, or history videos reactions? Well, two reasons. One, I want to start doing other reactions. My view of the channel was I want to do reactions on everything, not only music or history. That's reason number one. And the most important one is views. Okay, the past few weeks, I've seen content creators doing reaction to Jordan Peterson and getting like hundreds of thousands of views. I'm like, okay, me too, I'm coming in. I'm coming in on the boat that's going towards the views and towards people. So, judge me if you will. Okay, I'm a fickle creature. I'm a human. That's it. So anything I know about this video, this came out a few years ago. I remember, I never watched it, but I remember seeing clips of it where she was really obnoxious, and this is gonna be good. So yeah, let's go in, guys.
Let me put a quote to you from the book, where you say, there are whole disciplines in universities forthrightly hostile towards men. These are the areas of study dominated by the postmodern stroke neo-Marxist claim that Western culture in particular is an oppressive structure created by white men to dominate and exclude women. But then I want to put
minorities too dominate and exclude.
Okay, sure. But I want to put to you that here in the UK, for example, let's take that as an example, the gender pay gap stands at just over 9%. You've got women at the BBC recently saying that the broadcaster is illegally paying them less than men to do the same job. You've got only 7 women running the top FTSE 100 companies.
Yeah.
So
What?
It seems to a lot of women
The
that they're
FTSE?
still being dominated by FTSE 100 companies. Same job.
I'm sorry.
You've got only 7 women running the top FTSE 100 companies.
Yeah.
So it seems to a lot of women that they
What the hell is footsie, guys? Footsie? Is that
still being
football?
dominated and excluded, to quote your words back to you.
It does seem that way, but multivariate analysis of the pay gap indicate that it doesn't exist.
But that's
So
just
you
not
do,
true,
you-
is it?
That's
I mean, that
absolutely
9% pay gap, that's a gap between median hourly earnings
Yeah.
between men and women.
But there's
That
multiple.
exists.
Yeah, but there's multiple reasons for that. One of them is gender, but it's not the only reason. Like if you're a social scientist worth your salt, you never do a univariate analysis. Like you say, well, women in aggregate are paid less than men. Okay, well then we break it down by age, we break it down by occupation, we break it down by interest, we break it down by personality.
But you're saying basically it doesn't matter if women aren't getting to the top, because that's what's skewing that gender pay gap,
Oh,
isn't it?
I love good
You're saying,
old
well, that's just a
journalism.
fact.
No, I'm
Like,
saying
women
it
aren't
doesn't
necessarily
matter.
going to get.
I love this. It doesn't matter. Man, putting words in other people's mouths. It's one thing when people do it, like, and they're far away. It's not like they're sitting face to face and you had the discussion like 3 minutes ago, the answer rather, to the question, and then you say something he didn't say. Doing it like, let's say, a week later in a journal somewhere, someone says, he said so this and that. He never said this and that, but it was like a week later. But doing it to someone's face, and I don't know how he stays calm throughout this. I would be flipping, like,
Get to the top.
No,
that's
I'm not
why
saying
I
it
could
doesn't
never
matter.
be a diplomat.
You're saying
I'm
it's a
saying there
fact
are
of life.
multiple reasons for it.
Yeah, but
and that
those
aren't being
reasons,
taken
why
into
why
account.
should women put up with those reasons? Why should
Why should
women be
put up with it?
content
I'm not
not
saying
to
that
get
they
to the
should
top?
put up with it. I'm saying that the
Oh my
claim
God.
that the wage gap between men and women is only due to sex is wrong. And it is wrong. There's no doubt about that. The multivariate analysis have been done. So
Well,
I can give you an
You
example.
keep on talking about
Wait a second.
multivariate analysis.
Let me
No,
give
no,
you
no,
an
no.
example.
I'm saying that 9% pay gap exists.
Yeah.
That's a gap between men and women. I'm not saying why it exists, but it exists. Now,
Yeah, but
if
you
you're a
have to say
woman,
why
that
it
seems
exists.
pretty unfair.
You have to say why it exists.
Listen, I'm not an intellectual, okay? I'm not that much. I'm trying to get, reading more books and all that. But even I know, okay, that when you start repeating yourself without making a new point in a debate, which it's not really a debate, but you're not winning, especially if you're repeating yourself with not a good point. If you're repeating a good point over and over again to just, like put it in people's minds, that's one thing.
Yes.
But do you agree that it's unfair? If you're a woman,
Not necessarily.
and on average you're getting paid 9% less than a man, that's not fair, is it?
It depends on why it's happening.
Oh my God!
I can give you an example. Okay. There's a personality trait known as agreeableness. Agreeable people are compassionate and polite.
I'm very
And
agreeable.
agreeable people get paid less than less agreeable people for the same job. Women are more agreeable than men.
That's
Again, a vast generalization. Some
It's not
women
a
are not more
generalization.
agreeable than
that's a good point about the agreeableness. It makes sense. You know, if you don't want to rock the boat to get a raise, you know what I mean? I'm not that guy. I'm not, you know, coming into your office with guns blazing, you know, raise me, right? You give me a raise or I'm going to, you know, I quit. I'm not that guy.
Yes,
men.
that's true, but that's right. And some women get paid more than men.
So you were saying that by and large, women are too agreeable to get the pay rises they deserve.
No, I'm saying that that's one component of a multivariate equation that predicts salary. It accounts for maybe 5% of the variance, something like that.
So surely the
you need about
answer-
another you need about another 18 factors, one of which is gender. And there is prejudice, there's no doubt about that, but it accounts for a much smaller proportion of the variance in the pay gap than the radical feminists claim.
Okay, so rather than denying the pay gap exists, which is what you did at the beginning of this conversation, shouldn't you say to women, rather than being agreeable and not asking for a pay rise, go and ask for a pay rise? Make yourself disagreeable with your boss.
Oh, definitely, there's that. But I also didn't deny it existed.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he didn't deny he existed. He said that it exists, but it doesn't exist only because of sexism. Or as far as I'm getting from the conversation, maybe I missed points, but it exists because of personality traits and oh my god, I hate journalism. You know, it's very gotcha. You know, it's basically you know, she's trying to sort of egg him on to either explode or go off the rail some way so that they can have a clip and replay it over and over again. And I think that's one of the reasons why journalism and trust in the media has lost a lot of weight over the past few years, because we've seen, you know, this sort of journalism so much, and that's why, you know, even when I watch TV, I never trust it anymore, ever. I'm not saying like 50%. No. No matter who, I'm not left or right either. Okay. So that people get my where I'm coming from. If CNN said something, I'm like, I don't trust it, and it could be true. That's the problem, in my opinion. You could say something. You could be on CNN or Fox News or any other media. You could say something that's 100% true, and that maybe that truth is, you know, extremely important. But my initial instinct wouldn't be, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. It's going to be, oh my god, where are they coming from? How are they skewing this? And that's, in my opinion, the biggest flaws, the biggest cost in of what the media did over the past 5 years. Let's say 10 years.
Denied it existed because of gender.
Okay.
See, because I'm very, very, very careful with my words.
So the pay gap exists, you accept that, but you're
Yes.
saying, I mean, the pay gap between men and women exists, but you're saying it's not because of gender, it's because women are too agreeable to ask for pay rises. So
It's
make
one
them-
of the reasons.
Okay, one of the reasons. So why not get them to ask for a pay rise?
I've
Wouldn't
done
that be
that.
a fairer
I've
way
done
of
that
proceeding?
many, many times in my career.
And they just
I've
don't.
counseled. Oh, they do it all the time. You can. It's so. One of the things that you do as a clinical psychologist is assertiveness training. So you might say, often you treat people for anxiety, you treat them for depression, and maybe the next most common category after that would be assertiveness training. And so I've had many, many women, extraordinarily competent women, in my clinical and consulting practice, and we put together strategies for their career development that involve continual pushing, competing for higher wages, and often tripled their wages within a 5-year period, teaching
you
them how to
celebrate that?
negotiate. Of course.
So
Of
do
course.
you agree that
What?
you would be happy if that pay gap was eliminated?
That was a stupid statement. If you triple someone's wages, why wouldn't you be happy about it? That was idiotic. I'm sorry.
Because that's
Ben-
all the radical feminists are saying.
It would depend on how it was eradicated and how the disappearance of it was measured.
And you're
These
saying
things
if
you
it's at the
can't- you
cost
can't-
of men, that's a problem.
Oh, there's all sorts of things that it could be at the cost of. It could even be at the cost of women's own interests. So,
Because they might not be happy if they get equal pay.
no, because it might interfere with other.
Okay, what kind of she's okay, I didn't expect this to trigger me so much, but what? Let's go back.
So,
Because they might not be happy if they get equal pay.
What
No,
the
because
hell? Dude, do I need to explain this? Do I need to say something here? Oh yeah. If they won't be happy if they get equal pay. That's what it is. That's we.
might interfere with other things that are causing the pay gap that women are choosing to do.
Like having children.
Well, or choosing careers that actually happen
Oh,
to be
just
paid
dump
less.
words in my
Women do
mouth,
a lot
please.
of.
But why shouldn't women have the right to choose not to have children, or the right to choose those demanding
They
careers?
do. They can. Yeah, that's fine.
But you're saying that makes them unhappy, by and large.
I'm saying that no, I'm not saying that. And I actually haven't said that so far. in
You're
the
saying
program.
it makes them miserable.
Oh my God,
No,
I can't
said
believe
that what
it.
was making them.
Okay, guys. I knew this was gonna happen. Oh, I have flashbacks. I remember this video, or at least the clips.
Miserable was having weak partners. That makes them miserable.
Right.
I would say that many women around the age of, I would say between 28 and 32, have a career family crisis that they have to deal with. And I think that's partly because of the foreshortened time frame that women have to contend with. Like, women have to get the major pieces of their life put together faster than men, which is also partly why men aren't under so much pressure to grow up. So because for the typical woman,
That's a
she
good
has to
point.
have her career and family in order pretty much by the time she's 35, because otherwise the options start to run out. And so that puts a tremendous amount of stress on women, especially at the end of their 20s.
I think I take issue with the idea of the typical woman, because, you know, all women are different.
Oh yeah, thank you for the clarification. We didn't know that. No, that's a good point. That's a huge amount of stress that I don't have to deal with. Thankfully, okay, to have to decide if you want to have kids and have a good career by the time you're 35. Oh my God, I mean that would be I don't know what you guys go through, women.
And that's what I want to just put another quote to you from the book.
Well,
You
they're
say,
different in some ways and the same in others.
okay, you say women become more vulnerable when they have children.
Oh,
and
yes.
you talked in one of your YouTube interviews about crazy harpy sisters. So, simple question. Is gender equality a myth in your view? Is that something that's just never going to happen?
It depends on what you mean by equality. No,
Being
if
treated
you mean that
fairly,
men and women
getting
are
the same opportunities?
fairly, we could get to a point where people were treated fairly or more fairly. I mean, people are treated pretty fairly in Western culture already, but we can.
But they're
improve
really
that.
not, though, are they? I mean, otherwise, why
depends
would
on-
there only be 7 women running FTSE 100 companies in the UK? Why?
I don't know. Maybe women aren't into running companies. And what the hell is FTSE, man? Why don't you say top 500, whatever. FTSE companies, what the hell is that? I don't know. Man. I don't know where this is going. She really is obnoxious, though. Because all her questions, as far as... and I don't know, but all her questions are all, I'm gonna get you. That's annoying as hell to me. It's really annoying.
Why would there still be a pay gap, which we've
Oh, well,
discussed
that's
at
easy.
length?
That's easy to
Why are
answer
women
that
at the
question.
BBC saying that they're getting paid illegally less than men to do the same job?
Well, let's-
That's not fair,
Well,
is
let's
it?
go to the first question. Those are complicated questions. Seven women. Repeat that one. There's only
7 women running the top FTSE 100 companies in the UK.
Okay. Well, the
I mean,
first
that's not
question
fair.
might be, why would you want to do that?
Why would a man want to do it? I
Well,
mean, there's a lot of
there's
money. It's
certain-
an interesting
There's a
job.
certain
you know?
number of men, although not that many, who are perfectly willing to sacrifice virtually all of their life to the pursuit of a high-end career. So they'll work. These are men that are very intelligent, they're usually very, very conscientious. They're very driven, they're very high energy, they're very healthy, and they're willing to work 70 or 80 hours a week, non-stop, specialized at one thing to get to the top.
So you're saying women are just more sensible. They don't want that because it's not a nice life.
I'm saying that's part of it, definitely. And so I work
So you don't think there are barriers in their way that prevent them getting to the top
Oh,
of
there
those
are
companies?
some barriers, yeah, like men, for example. I mean, to get to the top of any organization is an incredibly competitive enterprise. And the men that you're competing with are simply not going to roll over and say, please take the position.
So let me come
it's
back to my
absolute
question.
all-out warfare.
Is gender equality a myth?
I don't know what you mean by the question.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So, why don't you and maybe this is just me. I mean, maybe I'm the odd one out, but when you ask a question, let it go till the end. Why did you just,
Men and women aren't the same, and they won't be the same. That doesn't mean they can't be treated fairly.
Is gender equality desirable?
If it means equality of outcome.
Okay, listen. Sometimes you think you say to yourself, the negative, depressive thoughts in your head. You're stupid. You're not smart enough. People, they have PhDs and masters, and they're so much smarter than you. And there are people, you think journalists, they studied, they know what they're talking about, and they ask the most idiotic questions.
Outcome, then almost certainly it's undesirable. That's already been demonstrated in Scandinavia. Because in Scandinavia...
What do you mean by that? Equality of outcome is undesirable.
Well, men and women won't sort themselves into the same categories if you leave them alone to do it of their own accord. I've already seen that in Scandinavia. It's 20 to 1 female nurses to male, something like that. It might not be quite that extreme. And approximately the same male engineers to female engineers. And that's a consequence of the free choice of men and women in the societies that have gone farther than any other societies to make gender equality the purpose of the law. Those are ineradicable differences. You can eradicate them with tremendous social pressure and tyranny, but if you leave men and women to make their own choices, you will not get equal outcomes.
Right, so you're saying that anyone who believes in equality, whether you call them feminists, call them whatever you want to call them, should basically give up because it ain't going to happen.
Only if they're aiming at equality of outcome.
So you're saying give people equality of opportunity, that's fine.
It's not only fine, it's eminently desirable for everyone, for individuals and for society.
But still women aren't going to make it. That's what you're really
It
saying.
depends on your measurement techniques. They're doing just fine in medicine. In fact, there are far more female physicians than there are male physicians. There are lots of disciplines that are absolutely dominated by women. Many, many disciplines. And they're doing great. So
let me put something else to you from the book. You say the introduction of the equal pay for equal work argument immediately complicates even salary comparison beyond practicality for one simple reason. Who decides what work is equal? It's not possible. So the simple question is, do you believe in equal pay?
Well,
Okay. I understand why those videos that I'm just doing now are very popular. Because it's like, what the hell? What can I say here? This gives me a lot of motivation personally when I see someone who's so well spoken, and I'm gonna assume has went to college to some sort and has got a good education and all that. That gives me so much confidence and so much more belief in myself that, oh my God, I'm not that dumb. Okay, I'm not that dumb, please, thank you God. Because this is insane. Those questions?
well, I made the argument there. It's like it depends on
So
who
you don't
defines
believe
it.
in equal pay?
No, I'm not saying that
Oh
at
my
all.
God.
Because a lot
Dude.
of people listening to you will just say, are we going back to the dark
That's because
ages
they're actually
here?
not listening. They're
I'm
just
listening very
projecting
carefully,
what
and
they
I'm
think.
hearing you basically saying women need to just accept they're never going to make it on equal terms, equal outcomes. Is
No,
not
no,
how
no,
you
no.
defined it.
No,
What
I
she's
think-
doing, this is purely her job. I don't believe she's that moronic. I think this is the way she's being taught journalism. I'm gonna assume, or maybe she has something against the guy, but I think that's the way they were taught journalism, to get money, to get clicks, and so they're trying to get others their way to,
If I
say
was
that.
a
I
young
said that
woman
equal-
watching that, I would go, well, I might as well just go and play with my Cindy dolls
I
and give
didn't
up
say
trying
that.
at school because I'm not going to get the top job I want. Because
said
there's
that
someone sitting there saying it's not possible and it's not desirable, it's going to make you
aren't
miserable.
desirable. That's what I said. It's a
Yeah,
bad
it's not
social
desirable.
goal. I didn't say that women shouldn't be striving for the top or anything like that, because I don't believe that for a second.
Striving for the top, but you're going to put all those hurdles in their way, as has been in their way for centuries, and that's fine. You're saying that's fine.
No.
You know, he must meditate a lot. You know, he really must meditate a lot. He must meditate a lot. I would have lost the debate. I would have exploded. I would have exploded, to be honest, if I was in his shoes right now, or when the interview was taken.
No, I really
The
think
patriarchal system is
think
just
that's
fine.
silly. I do. I think that's silly. I really do. I mean, look at your situation. You're hardly unsuccessful.
Yeah, and I have
How do
battled
you
quite
manage
hard
it?
to get where I've got
Exactly.
to.
Good
So
for
that's
you.
okay. Battling is good. This is all
It's
about the
inevitable.
fight. But you talk about men
Why
fighting. I mean,
would
let me
you-
just put another thing to you from
I mean,
here.
everybody
You have
battles
to
if they
battle
want to
for a
get to a high
high-quality
position.
Well, I notice in your book you talk about real conversations between men containing, quote, an underlying threat of physicality.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
What about real conversations between women? Is that something, or are we sort of too amenable and reasonable?
No, it's just that the domain of physical conflict is sort of off limits for you.
Well, you
It's
just said
rather
that I've
unfortunate.
fought to get where I've got.
Yeah, but
What does that make me?
Well,
a
I
sort of
don't
proxy
imagine.
man or
I
something?
don't imagine that you've. Yeah, to some degree, I suspect you're not very agreeable.
So that's the thing. Successful women, I'm not very agreeable.
Right.
But
I've noticed that
successful-
actually in this conversation.
Oh my, that's funny. Oh my god. I would have lost it. To be honest,
At least
and
we
I'm
can have
sure
a
it
joke
served your career well.
Successful women, though, basically have to wear the trousers, in your view. They have to sort of become men to succeed, is what you're saying.
Well, if they're going
I've had to fight to succeed,
if they're
therefore
going to
I'm an
compete
honorary
against
man.
men, certainly masculine traits are going to be helpful. I mean, one of the things I do in my counseling practice, for example, when I'm consulting with women who are trying to advance their careers, is to teach them how to negotiate and to be able to say no and to not be easily pushed around and to be formidable. And you need to, if you're going to be successful, you need to be smart, conscientious, and tough.
Well, here's a radical idea. Why don't the bosses adopt the male bosses, shall we say, adopt some female traits so that women don't have to fight and get their sharp elbows out for the pay rises? It's just accepted if they're doing the same job, they get the same pay.
Well, I would say partly because it's not so easy to determine what constitutes the same job.
But that's because, arguably,
Yeah.
there are still men dominating our industries, our society, and therefore they've dictated the terms for so long that women have to battle to be like the men.
No, it's not true. It's not true. So, for
Where's the
example,
evidence?
well, I can give you an example very quickly. So, I worked with women who worked in high-powered law firms in Canada for about 15 years, and they were as competent and put together as anybody you would ever meet. And we were trying to figure out how to further their careers. And there was a huge debate in Canadian society at that point that was basically ran along the same lines as your argument, is that if the law firms didn't use these masculine criteria, then perhaps women would do better. But the market sets the damn game. It's like...
And the market is dominated by men.
No,
So
it's
what I'm
not. It's
asking
not.
you-
The market is dominated by women. They make 80% of the consumer decisions. That's not the case
What?
at all.
If you're talking
80%.
about people who stay at home looking after children, by and large, they are still women. So they're going out doing the shopping. But that is changing.
They make all
Anyway,
the
what I want
consumer
to ask
decisions.
You, okay, so
the
what I want to
market is
ask you-
driven by
okay,
women, not men.
Right.
Okay, and if you're a lawyer
And they
in
still
Canada...
pay more for the same sort of goods. That's been proven, that men, you buy a blue bicycle helmet, it's going to cost less than a pink one. Anyway, we'll come on to that.
It's partly because men are less agreeable.
wait, what? 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 You're going down to helmets?
Right, so they won't put up with it.
I want to ask you, is it not desirable to have some of those female traits you're talking about? I'd say that's a generalization, but you've used the words female traits. Is it not desirable to have some of them at the top of business? I mean, maybe there wouldn't have
They
been
don't predict
a
success.
banking crisis.
They
if
don't
that
predict
happened.
success in the workplace. The things that predict success in the workplace are intelligence and conscientiousness. Agreeableness negatively predicts success in the workplace. And
So
so
you're
does
saying
high
that-
negative emotion.
You're saying that women aren't intelligent enough to run these top companies?
No, I didn't say that at all.
You said that
Okay, now she's not that stupid, okay? She's not. I'm gonna give her a huge benefit of the doubt. Because even me, okay, I'm like, what? No, she's not that stupid. I think it's a game. I think the way she was taught journalism, the way she came up, is clicks and money. I believe, huge benefit of that, because this is pure, bullshit at this point. So
female traits don't predict success.
But I didn't say that intelligence wasn't. I
conscientiousness
didn't say that
do.
intelligence and conscientiousness
Well, you were saying that
weren't
intelligence
female
and
traits.
conscientiousness by
You just
implication are not
said
female
that.
traits.
No,
I mean,
I'm not
that's very
saying that.
dangerous
I'm
territory.
not saying that at all.
Are women less
There's-
intelligent than men, by and
No,
large?
no, they're not. No, the data on that's pretty
Okay,
clear.
I'm done, dude.
The average IQ for a woman and the average IQ for a man is identical. There is some debate about the flatness of the distribution, which is something that James Damore pointed out, for example, in his memo, but there's no difference at all in general cognitive ability. There's no difference to speak of in conscientiousness. Women are a bit more orderly than men, and men are a little bit more industrious than women. But the difference isn't big. But
know
that
plenty of-
averages into
Plenty of men
conscientiousness.
who aren't necessarily as
Well, of
industrious.
course.
But
these are- okay. But no,
female
but you
traits,
asked me
though,
the
why
question.
are they not...
Feminine traits,
Why
let's
are they
say.
not desirable at the top of... Feminine traits, why are they not desirable at the top of...
It's hard to say. I'm just laying out the empirical evidence. Like we know the traits that predict success.
But we also know, because companies by and large have not been dominated by women over the centuries, we have nothing to compare it to. It's an experiment.
True, and it could be the case that if companies modified their behavior and became more feminine, that they would be successful. But
You
there's
seem
no
doubtful about
evidence
that.
for it. I'm not neither doubtful nor non-doubtful. There's no
So
evidence
why
for
not
it.
give it a go, as the
Because
radical
the evidence
feminists would
suggests,
say?
well, it's fine. If someone wants to start a company and make it more feminine and compassionate, let's say, and caring in its overall orientation.
Oh, yeah,
towards
that's
workers and
what
towards the
companies are,
marketplace, then that's a
caring.
perfectly reasonable experiment to run.
Brought to
My
you
point
by
is that
Amazon.
there is no evidence that those traits predict success in the workplace. And there's
Because it's
this
never
evidence
been
is-
tried.
Well, that's not really the case. Women have been in the workplace for what? At least ever since I've been around, the representation of women in the workplace has been about 50%. So we've run the experiment for a fairly reasonable period of time, but not, certainly not for centuries.
Okay. This was much more emotional than I ever thought it was gonna get. You saw my reaction. I don't know. I have no idea how he stayed as calm as he did throughout the whole interview. Because at multiple points I was like, this gives me an insane amount of hope in myself. If she can be where she is, with the things she's saying, and I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt that she's saying them because she knows it's gonna get clicks. And I mean, look at this. There was like 2 million views on this, 6 million on this video. So I guess she's right. Gives me a lot of hope. Let's put it that way for me. So take that as you will. Overall, my reaction was, I can't believe this is legal. I mean, like being so I guess it's the nature of the beast. Can't be mad at it. But yeah. Anyways, guys, leave down your comments. You like my reaction? You like me to do more reaction of Jordan Peterson? I'll be all for it. And see you guys next time. Peace.